So I absolutely love Titans. I'm one of the biggest fans of this incredible live action interpretation of the classic brilliant Titans characters. I mean, firstly, the casting is just second to none. They have just casted every single character so perfectly, and all of the storylines are so brilliant. The VFX for a TV level production definitely feels very cinematic, and all of the fight sequences between all of the different characters is just so wicked. And the benefit of having a TV series with these immaculate characters is that you can just feel so much more connected to them. So all of their depictions are so brilliant. Whenever anything happens to any of them, you really do feel it. And tonally, it feels really dark, really edgy, really modern, and does feel like a bit of a mini movie. Every single episode has you so engrossed in the particular storyline that's happening, whilst also telling a bigger narrative. So like I said, this series is just so underrated, and I'm just so gutted that it's over because it was just such a wicked series, but it did end on a definite high, so let's talk about that ending and this whole series as well. So I feel like the start of season 4, part 1, definitely was a bit of a slow burn with all of the Brother Blood storyline, but like I said, because of the fact that it is a TV series, you're just so connected, so that when Sebastian does ultimately give into the darkness, and I just thought that ending from the first part was just so brilliantly done, as you definitely are with this character, and you can just see he's been so destroyed, and all of the trauma that he's had to go through his entire life. I know Mother Mayhem was puppeteering that entire downfall of this character, but you could just really feel it. And then when he's given this opportunity to get everything that he's ever wanted, and to finally get all of the power that he has been pushed down for so long, and to finally reverse the tables, you can just see why that temptation was just too much for him to bear, and that he ultimately did give into it, and then became Brother Blood. So I just think that entire narrative, whilst it was a bit of a slow burn, I think it definitely was really wicked. So I actually think it's really clever what the writers did with the Sebastian Brother Blood character in the second part of the 4th season, as they really did continue that narrative of this guy who has just gone through such severe trauma, as they could have done the opposite. They could have just made this character really evil, and he's going to bring back Trigon, and he's going to have a bit of an apocalyptic situation that all the Titans have to try to stop. And I feel like that is what everyone was expecting, but it was really clever as they kept all of the broken aspects of this character. So for example, he has wanted his game to be released and for the entire world to love it, and in turn to love him. And because of the fact that he is such a powerhouse, he is actually able to make that a reality. And along with the fact that he's got Conor's Lex Luthor technology at his disposal as well, he really can make this a reality. On that point, I thought Conor was a really wicked character as far as the Brother Blood storyline is concerned, as he was mirroring a lot of the things that Mother Mayhem was doing in terms of selling him a dream and knowing exactly how to manipulate him. But of course, this time Brother Blood has got access to all these powers. So not only was he able to actually use Conor, I just think that role reversal was so wicked and so chilling when you actually see Conor's face, that actually Brother Blood was able to double cross him and able to manipulate him. I just thought that moment was absolute class. And of course, Brother Blood is a really dark, hellish character now, so he is able to do dark and evil things, and he is actually able to achieve his goal. So his game did get mass market love and appeal, but it all came at a cost as he went about it in a really dark and sinister way. And so many people were dying, including almost Bernard. And going back to Conor, I thought it was really interesting actually, as you're not sure whether or not you can trust him. Can the Titans trust him, and can the audience trust him? But then ultimately, I loved it when Conor was returning back to the Titans, as firstly he just fits in with the Titans so well, and it was just so wicked seeing the group together. Those are my favourite moments across all 4 seasons. All of the Titan group moments. I mean, I understand the fact that they have to split them off and have very different storylines so that when they do come together, is just so epic. But those moments together with Conor, especially after his Lex Luthor persona kind of took over him and he went down a bit of a dark path, I think it was so wicked to see him back here, especially in that final battle between the Titans and Brother Blood. That moment when Conor came in, when it seemed as if Dick Grayson was going to die at the hands of Bernard. So satisfying. And you really are able to see that Superboy is such a super powered character. And like I said, he just really is able to help all of the Titans. And going back to that fight, I thought it was so brilliant, as you really do get to see a lot of different characters. For example, Superboy and Gar, you know, having a lot on his plate in terms of having to save the entire world from a red perspective. And then we also have Starfire being prophesized as being the only person that can ultimately stop Brother Blood, but she has to sacrifice herself in order to do so. That final fight just had such high stakes. And I just love how the 4th season, in particular the second part, really did come full circle with everything that they had set up. For example, Tamaran being this mega planet, and that Trigon really hates it, and the fact that Brother Blood now has Trigon's heart inside of him. He also wants to destroy Tamaran because of that. So I just think it all came together full circle so brilliantly. And speaking of Trigon, I love how it started in the first season with, it all being about Trigon's destruction of the entire planet, and it kind of ended with that same kind of storyline with Trigon, except this time Trigon has been defeated by Brother Blood. That moment was so shocking, and I feel like, it does definitely come full circle from that perspective, and it was really tear-jerking when you're thinking that Starfire has actually sacrificed herself and has died, and I just loved it how Dick Grayson is just looking in such loss up at the sky as the love of his life has now died. But then when she comes back, that moment was just so well earned. And like I said earlier on, you're just so connected to all of these characters. So you are crying when you're thinking that Starfire has died, but then when she comes back, you're just feeling so euphoric. So I just think, like I said, the writing, the acting, the VFX, everything about those couple of moments and this entire series as a whole was just so brilliant. And I just think Brother Blood is such a compelling, layered character. I just love the way in which villains are written these days. As back in the day, they were just bad for the sake of being bad, whereas nowadays, you really can see where they're all coming from. And the way in which he just destroyed and killed his mother on a number of different occasions in this second part was just so unbelievable. But now let's go back to Conor. So I love the fact that Conor was properly forgiven by Dick Grayson. And I just love the Dick Grayson and Conor relationship, as it really does mirror the Batman and Superman relationship. And speaking of Superman, I love that Conor finally got to see Superman, and he was learning how to fly, and he ultimately did learn how to fly in the final couple of moments of this second part. It just came full cycle, like I said, really, really well. And like I said, you really are with Conor, especially when he is just really wanting to see Superman, and he even has the glasses on, which really does mirror Superman. And then he goes down the Lex Luthor path, which you can also understand as well, especially after he met Lex Luthor. And then Lex Luthor was killed so unceremoniously. So I just loved the character arc of the Conor character. And I just loved Conor's introduction in the second season. On that point, I feel like season 2 and season 3 definitely did feel a lot more Batman aligned, whereas season 1 and season 4 definitely feel very Titans orientated. And I feel like that really is when the series is at its peak, as obviously they're not able to use all of the Batman type characters in this series for a number of different contractual reasons. And I mean, they did definitely make the most of it when they did have all of the Batman aligned characters and the Batman aligned world. But I much preferred it when they just referenced it. For example, in the 4th season in part 1, when Dick Grayson is talking to Jinx and they're just talking about their past experiences with Two-Face and with Constantine, I feel like that's better. Whereas I feel like the Scarecrow character didn't really work in the way that he should have done. I mean, Deathstroke was a lot better, but I feel like the 1st and 4th season, when they definitely are a lot more Titans focused, is so much stronger. And casting Brenton Thwaites as the Dick Grayson character was easily one of the best casting decisions ever made, as he is just really Dick Grayson through and through. And he just brings all of the Dick Grayson attributes out with this character portrayal so perfectly. And it's just such a shame that this series is now finished, as his portrayal as Dick Grayson, I have to say, is just one of the best, like I said before. And I just hope that one day you do get to see him playing this character again, hopefully in the movies one day. And they definitely did show that him and Starfire really are endgame, as they really did complete their journey together. And it was just so nice seeing those happy moments right at the end of the 4th season. The Where's My Gar episode has got to be easily one of the best episodes of television ever, as it was just so emotional for so many different reasons. Firstly, you haven't seen Gar at all on the 4th part up until that point, so it was really nice firstly just to see him. And then when you see him talking to his younger self, when obviously his younger self has lost his parents, that was absolutely emotional. The sequences experienced in the multiverse was absolutely incredible. Of course, we finally got to see Stargirl having a crossover with the Titans, which is really, really brilliant. We also got to see Victor/Cyborg interacting with the Titans. All of the crossovers were really, really brilliant. And just the fact that, he's got such a burden on himself in terms of having to represent and save and lead the Red, whilst also having really true cinematic sequences in terms of trying to find a cure to all of these people that are nearly going to end all the animal race. It was just so brilliant, and I definitely think the actor just really did step up to the plate, as Gar firstly has always been depicted as a bit of a fun, easygoing character, and he just really did elevate into an epic character in that episode, and it was just done so well. Rachel, similarly, is such an epic character. I feel like she has elevated herself so much, especially how she was right in the beginning of the 1st season, in terms of being a kid lost and seeing a lot of death and a lot of evil people being after her. And I feel like Dick Grayson definitely did bring her up in a really, really brilliant paternal way. And now she is such a pure, elegant, awesome character. And I just wish we would have seen even more with White Raven in a potential 5th season. As like I said, this character has the potential to even lead her own TV show. So it was so good. And I similarly loved Tim Drake. I feel like his relationship with Bernard is really believable. And then when he ultimately became Robin, it was just such a similarly well-earned moment, as you really can see that Tim Drake just wants this so badly. And Dick Grayson was always waiting for the right time for him to become Robin. And I feel like, you know, the fact that he gave him the Robin suit was really nice. And the fact that he's also repaired his relationship with Jason Todd. So the fact that Red Hood was bringing up the next Robin was so wicked. I absolutely loved all of those sequences. And you really can see similarly how much it means to Tim Drake. And it was really wicked also see Curran Walters back, as he was just so good as Red Hood in season 3. The fact that they're all now going off in their own various different paths and their own different directions is a little bit bittersweet. I mean, it is really sad the fact that, you know, this brilliant TV show is over, but it is a bit of a satisfying ending at the same time, that they're all kind of fulfilling their own various dreams in their own various different ways, and that even at the same time, you know, they are still going to be part of the Titans too. And even though Jinx died, I'm sure that she would have come back in a potential 5th season. Firstly, the character was just so good, and she was kind of on that other plane where we got to see her teaching Gar a couple of different things about the afterlife and all of that kind of thing. So I'm sure Jinx would have come back, but they did tease that in a potential 5th season we would have seen Tara, who would have been so brilliant. Of course, she is so renowned for double-crossing the Titans, so I think she could have been really interesting. And I feel like Roy Harper was supposed to come in season 4, as of course he is the sidekick to Green Arrow. So as Red Arrow, I think he would have been really good, and I'm sure he would have eventually been in the 5th season. I'm really surprised that they never brought back Minka Kelly as the Dove character. She could have definitely added a lot to the team too, especially as she was such a vital character in the 1st and 2nd season. And like I keep saying in all of my Titans reviews, I am just so shocked that they don't do more with Conor Leslie. She is perfect casting as well as Donna Troy and as Wonder Girl, and she has the potential to be so good, and she really could balance Dick Grayson's darker side with her lighter side, and she's of course really good friends with Starfire, so I just think it's so unbelievable that they don't bring her back. But nonetheless, you know, I am really glad that they did wrap everything up in a really brilliant way, and it really was the ultimate DC show. I'm so glad that we did get to see one of my favourite superhero teams being realised in such an incredible way on the big screen in live action. It really was such a brilliant show, and I definitely feel like it ended in a really incredible way too. And I'm just so hopeful, like I said before, that we do get to see these actors reprising these roles, whether it be in the 5th season, hopefully, or more ideally, in a different universe, hopefully on the big screen in the cinemas one day, in James Gunn's new DC universe. But until then, I'd love to hear from you. What did you think of the second part of the 4th season of the incredible Titans TV show? I'd love to hear from you, so please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.